Are you ready? Are you ready to play video games?
Ah. It's another level. I thought this was the boss level. Damn it. Ah. Well. Boom.
Jump!
In case you can't tell, I'm getting kind of sick and tired of seeing the same 3 fucking dudes in the same fucking position doing the same fucking thing. Oh look, they be dead. Oh, she looks so like kind of happy. She's not quite sure what happy is, but she knows that she's happy. But yeah, welcome to another episode of GWD. I'm your host, Drew. Not with me, or James, or Lars, or my dad, or someone else I may have on the show. Sneak in. Ah. Sneak in there? Yeah.
There you are.
Thank you. Sneak in there. No. Oh. And thwack.
I can't believe it!
I mean, you know, I think I'm...
There you are.
The thing about this game is level the monsters to you, no matter what dungeon you go in. So if you continue through the story, it, like, you know, you're not going to do a bunch of side stuff later on in the game, and suddenly it's just like, oh, well, you're level 50, but this was a level 30 dungeon, or supposed to be a level 30. It's like, no, they're going to be your fucking level, dude. You didn't do yourself any favors. Although there is I think there is a certain story-specific area where the enemy, they're not monsters like these. They're humanoids, and they're the level they are, and that's what it is. There's not, like, they're not.
I can't believe
Because
it! I can't believe it!
I know that actually, you know what? I'm just gonna check, but I think, oh, it's 20.
Buck up now.
I probably should have had Linear do it, because it probably would have been more effective and just as much. I mean, yeah, okay. But so this is kind of a neat game. A lot of RPGs, actually, in general, their stories generally have the linear outline of, if you put in the work and effort, there's always hope, and you can do something to change the world. Whether, you know, you and your friends, or, you know, what. But
This is only the beginning.
my personal beliefs, not to be a Debbie Downer, generally fall more in line with the concept of absurdism and existentialism. Yeah, I totally butchered that fucking word, but whatever. You probably get my point. Basically, the theory is that you are small in the universe that is best compared
There you are.
to the Eastern Shore. You are but a speck on a speck of sand. And there's nothing you can do except be taken along with the current. So, which is like a lot of my favorite shows kind of take on that type of theory as well. BoJack Horseman on Netflix kind of takes on that theory. Rick and Morty kind of takes on that theory. Although I don't think they truly, like although everyone looks at the world on that show in that kind of light, I don't think the actual creators of the show truly 100% believe in that theory, theories. Because they're all like, oh. Because on every one of the shows, they're like, oh, well. Oh, dude. I didn't know I did that, damn it. On every one of those shows, though, there's like, oh, yeah, well, you know, there's always one character that seems to be, oh, well, you know, I can, do the, you know, I can come in and, you know, solve a lot of these problems, no problem. And generally it's the main character, or someone close to the main character. Like, for example, on Rick and Morty, it's Rick. You know, Rick is, I mean, in the season 3 premiere, Rick crashes not one government, but 2. And it's basically by snapping his fucking, you know, like just snapping his fingers for the most part. Which, I mean, I guess in the sense of that humans, you know, are, you know, it's like, oh, that's neat, that's cool. But in reality, it's kind of like, well,
There you are.
is that really true though? I mean, you know, a lot of a lot of people are like, oh, aliens are going to be the big-eyed gray-skinned fuckers or green-skinned fuckers or whichever skin tone. But is that really necessarily true, people? You think that if aliens are going to come from the sky, they're going to be pretty humanoid? I mean, you know, how do we even know they're going to be anything like us? It's an argument. It kind of goes back to the argument I kind of have with Lars about some things. Cause shit. Oh, you know what? Lars and I have a argument about he likes watching the Game Theory the Game Theorist, right? On YouTube, right? I mean, you know, he gets a couple 100,000 views of that episode, but Lars is always like, oh, you know, he does his math, and it's like, I mean, I'm not saying that there's no research put into it. When I argue, it's like you know, when Lars and I argue about it, he's like, oh, you know, he's done his research, and you know, he's got his he's got his I can't remember what the fucking word is. What's the word I'm looking for?
There you are.
His sources, he looks for other sources to try and back up his theory, and he puts the work and time into this stuff. And I was like, that's nice, Lars, but I mean, not to be a Debbie Downer, so to speak, but I mean, that also means that that a lot of his theories have to agree with the physics of our world too. And Lars just kind of goes, okay. And it's like, for example, his theory. The guy did a really neat video about the likelihood that video game characters had real or fake breasts in the game, and based on his like, oh well, most women, his defining guidelines were most on average real breasts. You know what? Fuck it. Oh. Why wasn't I just using these? God damn it. Woman's not to be rude. And please excuse me if I sound rude to you or anything like that. I'm not trying to, but it's just what from the bottom, from the chin of the women down to the center, down to the woman's nipple.
There you are.
Or the center of the areola, whichever you prefer. In this case, on average was about 10.5 inches. Fine. And then and then there was another average he found that was like, oh well, most women, they're on average the center of their area, the center of the areola was here on their breast at this age. And basically at the end of his episode, like he says that most video game characters are actually made in proportion. And in most cases, their breast would be real. Like Lara Croft and, he mentioned a couple other characters all had, according to the way that he compiled his data, had real breast. But then according to, he's like, on that note, according to these statistics, the 3 major Nintendo girls, Peach, Samus, and who's the third one? Fucking A, I don't remember. But he was like, they have fake breasts. And I was just like, isn't that interesting? I was like, well, it's an interesting hypothesis. It's like, well, how is this hypothesis? I mean, the show is clearly called Game Theory. And I was like, well, one, you can even show whatever the fuck you want. I mean, my show is called Gaming with Divinity just because my last name is Devine. But does that really mean I'm godly? Yes. For you dumbasses who don't think I'm not God, bow down and suck it. But, no. But on the other, oh, shit. But on the other hand, I was like, in order for his theory to hold very positive ground, it was like you have all his math and such relies on the basically relies on the fact that all video games in general take place in one universe that are applicable to the same laws of physics as everyone else. And on top of that, all game, also based on his theory, all games and the universe in which they all occupy together are the exact same universe in which you and I are currently residing. Now, once again, like, I'm not saying that, am I saying that they are? No, I'm clearly not. Based on my hypothesis, video game theories and our video game universes and our universes are not in the same plane of existence. If anything, like, you know, Mario's universe and our universe are probably two different universes in the same multiverse, if anything. But so it was like, you know, well, it's nice. You know, it's nice. It's an interesting thought.
Yes.
And the other thing that I didn't really, the other thing is that before he showed me that video with that particular series, or that particular series, I was already kind of turned off to, because Lars said he gave an opinion piece on the Division, and basically said that it was in the Division. He compared it to a militarized state, and the militarized state was allowed to do whatever the fuck they wanted without consequence. And the moment he gave to back up this theory, but it wasn't even. It was he misinterpreted, or he didn't fully pay attention to the situation, because it's in the beginning of the game, and the situation he gives is a bunch of medicines and a bunch of supplies, including medicine and food, have been stolen from one of the from one of the storage areas. Fine. So, and the general plot of the Division is that a virus has been unleashed in the greater New York area and wiped out a large portion of the population in the area. So there's just a lot of chaos and mayhem, and no one can really. It's been quarantined off. So basically, all these sleeper agents have been told, "Hey, you're in charge until we get a handle on the situation out here." Okay. So that's what's going on. So you get told, you know, go find these supplies and bring them back. And and for me personally, I actually put subtitles on no matter what I do. You know, it's just how I play. It's how I play games. It's just. I'm not gonna sit there and be like, oh. Oh shit, Gray. No! Gray! You jackass!
I can't believe it!
Really? And then the only guy who doesn't get hit is the guy who actually got hit. Great. Thanks, Gray. Fuck you too.
There you are.
Now I'm gonna have to do something that I don't want to do. Oh. Never mind. You can die. Welcome to my lair. Now you die. But so yeah, in the Division, you get the mission, and as you walk up on the where the supplies have been rumored to be have taken, and it turns out to be true. You walk up, and there's a conversation going on between the people who took the supplies, and they're saying, "Oh, we're gonna make a pretty buck on it." They're basically saying we're gonna sell it and we're gonna make a pretty buck on it, which is a pretty douche thing to do when, you know, it's like, oh geez, you know, people are fucking dying and you're just like looting and shit. Not only that, but you're looting from unregulated government officials who are free to do as they please. Real smart. Yeah. But so they go ahead, and I mean, maybe the guy who wrote the video wasn't paying attention, or he didn't put the subtitles on like I did. But he was like, oh, you walk up and they're not doing anything. They're just kind of huddled around. Yeah, they have guns and they might look menacing, but I mean, as a government official, you didn't really take the time to actually investigate whether or not they stole it because they needed it or not. And it's just like, dude, you walk up and they're talking about selling it. And I was just like, this guy, you know, he basically says that, like, in this game, you're just a government official doing whatever the fuck you want and fuck the people. It's like, well, I mean, I suppose it's a possibility in the game, but it's not, like, the one situation he gave is actually a pretty shitty one. And Lars was like, "K?" It's like, the situation he described is actually lacking in the detail that the people that you're walking up on are having you know, I described the same situation I just said. You know, the people you walk up on are having a conversation about selling it on the black market, basically. Lars was like, oh, it's like, I mean, I don't know. And I even said to Lars, like, there is the caveat here of that when he was playing, he didn't notice the conversation. So I'm not going to say that he did it. He's purposely misleading. But in this case, it is inadvertently or not misleading because he has not presented the case or the situation as it was fully intended.
I can't believe it!
And I mean, personally for me, personally from, you know, like he the entire point of this video was also like, oh, violence in video games is bad. It's naughty. Naughty, naughty. And no good. No bueno.
I can't
Is Greg
believe
dead?
it!
Yeah. There you go. So we're gonna do... Watch this! Gray! Come back to... So... And quite honestly, in my personal opinion, a lot of these theories, these theory videos on the internet, some of them are cool, like Wisecracks. I actually quite enjoy Wisecracks. Wisecracks.
There you are.
Not so much because of they're presenting theories on the videos of themselves, but because like a lot of people's videos or opinions is like, oh well, you know, oh, this is the type of oh, you know, this character could do this or this character can do that, but you know, like, it's not really commenting on morality or anything. Like, I like a lot of I like some of Wisecrack stuff about BoJack Horseman and Rick and Morty because it's not so much, it's not presenting a matter that's more black and white and applying it between two different universes. Like, you know, for example, the boobs in video games and if they're real or not based on the physics of our world. But I really like the Wisecracks because it's more like, oh, well, this show, some of their videos, because it's like, well, this show deals more in absurdism, which was founded by this guy, and his major thing is well, you know, and you know, absurdism is you are insignificant in the world, and you know, just tough shit. So go fuck yourself. Have fun. And blah 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 blah. Or, you know, existentialism and, you know, all these things. And pretty much, like, and even though a lot of philosophers present their theories, their philosophical theories as fact, and like Freud was like, everything's sexual and it has to be sexual, and he was very adamant about much of it. But I mean, you know, it's all literally a black and white matter because there's no physical proof. It's just, well, based on this train of thought, this is, you know, my common sense leads me to this. So you really can't prove or deny it. Unless you're Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's just like, I have all the answers to the universe, but I'm not telling them because it will just blow your fucking minds. And then, you know, if everyone's dead, how can I truly do anything? How can I be a smart person if I'm the only smart person here? So I need you stupid people to be here to validate my smartness. I know what you're doing, Neil deGrasse Tyson. I see you. Shady motherfucker. No. I actually really enjoy Neil deGrasse Tyson and some of his sayings. Just like I enjoy Ninja Brian and some of his and his shit, because even though, because yes, he's a fucking asshole, but I mean, people who can comprehend a lot. And this is a yeah. So actually, can I use skills here? Yes, I can. Yay. Oh, shit. Wow. I didn't know I had that much HP. Shit. But there's... A theory is not. Basically, at the end of the day, there's just a lot of bullshit in the world. And, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. Alright? But, we got the boss next. I'm gonna fight him. I'm gonna talk more shit. And, then we'll call it a day with this game. Alright? Hopefully. Hopefully there's not a lot of cutscenes. Hopefully.